are you? How the heck are you?
We're going to do a podcast.
So let's get a little deeper into your story, shall we? Who are you?
Well,
that becomes a sticky wicket. You know, what's your juice? Let's get back on track. You've got a lot of things going on. What is it that you're curious about? You know, what you're doing?
Run the world.
Right? Well,
like, let's crumble up some philosophy for you.
boom, 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 boom. It's been a whirlwind for you. What is it that supercharges you about this? Lots going on, lots coming up. Or is that too many stuff? Did I ask too many questions?
No, not too many questions.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Mind Your Own Business, the Chamber podcast. I'm Mo Beliveau, your host today, Executive Director of the Chamber of Greater Easthampton. Before we get started, I want to make sure that I give a shout out to E-Media, who is our partner on this project, the podcast project. And I would like to thank Jeff Mastriani. He is the Executive Director of the team over here at E-Media. And our production coordinator, I believe is his official title, Jackson Foote, who is away on vacation. Jackson, hope you're having a good time. So let's get into it. I'm excited to have two rock star women here with us today, and Kylene Canon and Jill Vincent-Lapan, and I'm going to let them do their intros today. So let's start with Kylene.
Hi, thank you for having us. Appreciate it. My name's Kylene Canon-Smith, and we're from Canon Real Estate. I've been working at Canon Real Estate for a long time. Started working there as a teenager after school, sort of filling in as needed, and got my real estate license right after college when I was 22, and have been selling real estate ever since for Canon Real Estate.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jill.
Yeah. My name is Jill Vincent-Lapan. I've been a realtor. Actually, this is my 20th year.
What?
Time flies when you're having fun. Got my license, actually had started part-time with another agency in South
Would that be
Hadley.
quarter time?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
That was a good one. Started with another agency part-time, came over to Canon, did part-time ever so briefly, and then just decided to make the leap and join you guys for a boatload of fun for the past 20.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, you know what? Let's just jump right into it. So,
Sounds good.
We're going to just dive right in. You gave me the little brief introduction to your journey. I just want to add, too, that both these women in Canon Real Estate have been recipients of many, many awards, have served their communities strongly, enthusiastically. So let's move right into it. So how about the challenges and successes? Let's jump into with that. What have been some of the biggest challenges you have faced in the real estate industry, and how have you overcome them?
I would say, the changing markets, sometimes it's sellers markets, sometimes it's buyers markets, and sort of navigating as the real estate markets change, very cyclical, it never stays really the same. So sort of helping our clients the best we can, depending on the market that we're dealing with. For instance, right now we're in a very seller's market, seller-friendly market, I guess you would say. And
okay.
It's been hard for buyers.
Hasn't it been like that for a while, though?
For a while, since probably COVID.
Right. And it's still, that wave is still riding.
Yes. Yeah, the supply is really low, demand is very high, so it's just been a real challenge for buyers, recently, past few years.
Do you focus mainly within the Easthampton area? What's your reach?
Pretty much Pioneer Valley, actually. So, we have our one office on Northampton Street in Easthampton, but all of us, pretty much Hampden County, quite a bit. Definitely Hampshire County, Franklin County even. Occasionally, we've all done offshoots of, like Worcester and Berkshires. And so pretty much, wherever we can travel, particularly, if it's somebody that you've been working with for a long time or whatnot. I've gone as far as Boston, with folks before to help them out. So, yeah.
Huh. And do you feel like the wave that we're currently riding as the sellers market, so to speak? Is that throughout the region, or is it specific to a county?
I would say at the very least statewide, but it almost seems to be almost more on a national level because, again, social media, the joys of Facebook. So, they have all different little real estate groups, and so you can kind of see what other people are dealing with around the country. And it kind of seems to be across the board of, like you said, lack of inventory and just a lot of buyer demand.
Yeah.
Alrighty. How do you see your work at Canon Real Estate contributing to the economic development of Easthampton specifically?
I would say that we, are proponents of trying to figure out ways to provide help in providing housing accessibility for as many people as possible. That's really what we've tried to help with and make it easier for people to get housing because it has been a challenge. So as many people as we can reach and try to help them with that goal has been definitely something that we've tried to accomplish.
Absolutely.
Is there a particular project that you guys are particularly proud of, or just that work in general?
I would say not so much of like a particular isolated project. I think it's just more of overall like our almost like not our theory, but like the basis of who we are as an organization, to where it's very consumer driven. So our customer satisfaction and the satisfaction of our clients is pretty much the only focus. So in however we have to do to get the results, and like you said, I mean, particularly with the struggles of buyers that they've had over the past few years because it's been so competitive, trying to think outside the box and what we can do to help people in those situations that maybe other agents or agencies haven't thought of or tried different ways. Being a small office, I think it allows us to, and being independent allows us a lot more flexibility. You
more
have
agile.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A little more creative.
Yes.
Yeah, we try to be.
Yep.
All right. So we have the, as you know, the Women's Conference coming up this fall. And I'd like to talk about women in leadership a little bit, because both of you are in those roles and very public and know lots of folks. As women in leadership role, in the leadership role within the real estate industry, what unique perspective or challenges have you encountered in that leadership role? And how do you think the industry is evolving in terms of gender diversity?
I would say in general, like real estate, there's a lot of women in real estate. So I don't see that it's ever, at least for me, has been a disadvantage. Being a woman, I feel like we're treated pretty equally across the industry, especially, locally, so.
Has that been historically, or is that like recently?
I mean, I can't speak to the beginning of, kind of realtors in general, but at least from when I've started and prior to, so maybe the past 30 years, it definitely seems like a female-dominated profession. I mean, why? I think it's just a lot of circumstance to where, we have a lot of people that have been former educators that now go into real estate, or, everybody nobody goes to school to become a realtor.
Right?
Like nobody like says, hey, I want to be a realtor when I get out of college.
But isn't that kind of crazy? Because think about the skill set that you have.
We do a lot of different things.
Right?
Yeah.
And the emotional intelligence that you need to carry along with that. You need to be able to read people instantly and carry them through and keep that read on them. That's not an easy thing to do. And maybe because women, I think, intuitively are a little bit more, that skill is a little more honed.
Right.
Yeah, but think about, so I didn't mean to sidetrack you, but the whole education piece, you're pulling from all kinds of skill sets.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the beauty of it too, because we do have past and current educators. You've had a lot of various experience. I came from a sales background. It's just, we have people who have worked in the medical, industry, things like that. So
empathy.
It's kind of, it's really quite interesting because I think, like you said, all of those past skills they're really an asset to real estate, and the way we collaborate as an office just kind of accentuates that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How many folks do you have in the office and as a part of your team?
8 right now.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit of a transition. We've had some people retire.
Yeah.
In recent years, long time, agents that have been with Bob for, since the beginning, changed paths a little bit. And so we're in a little bit of a transition, but have a good core group still.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, I know nothing about how, the inner workings of a real estate office or team. And is it, do all the folks on your team, is it a full-time profession, or is it do people tend to do this because it offers flexibility in their workday? I mean, I don't know.
It's a hard job to do part-time because it can be all-encompassing. I do think that there are people that do it part-time, but, it's a challenge because you do have to be available whenever clients need you.
That's got to be difficult.
It's difficult sometimes, but, we pride ourselves in doing that. We're, always responsive and accessible. I think, I'm a mother too. I have 3 kids.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. So
you look way too young to be having any kids. But maybe because I'm so old, everybody looks very young.
No, she does. Yeah.
But, sort of balancing having kids and...
I was just going to ask you about the work-life balance thing. Because when you're on demand like that all the time, it's very stressful. How do you rejuvenate? How do you recharge your batteries? How do you emotionally, stay on that at the top of the wave as opposed to feeling like the wave's coming down on you?
Yeah, I mean, at times it is challenging. It is challenging. We just had that conversation the other day, and we're like, boy, we love New Year's Day, and we're like, why do we love New Year's Day? And you brought up a great point because a lot of people are sleeping late, and it's a quiet morning, and we're like, oh my gosh, because it's a major holiday, and usually you don't work that day.
Well, and lots of folks are out late the night before,
right? Yeah.
So they're not really moving until exactly 5 p.m.
Yeah,
perhaps.
I hate New Year's Eve, but love
New Year's Day. Yes. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of the not so much difficulty. I think it's a little easier once you get used to it. It can be quite a shock, like for somebody first starting into real estate, because you don't realize exactly that you can get a lot of different things coming at you at one time. I mean, you could have 10 clients call you in a matter of, a couple hours, and everybody's got a different problem. So you feel like you're running around fighting fires all day.
Yeah.
Sit down at the end of the day and you're like, oh, I got nothing done on my to-do list. And it's like, move it to the next day. And
makes the days go by fast.
It does,
I will say that.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it's, we were saying even like on vacations, it's not like you really can go away truly and get away, because just with the nature of technology, or always available.
How has that helped or hindered you?
Both.
Yeah, exactly.
I tend to think, from my limited perspective over here, is that no one seems to be safe from the 24/7.
Right.
Which is so unhealthy.
Yeah, the world's changed
for us.
I think we try, between the two of us, because I know you do things where, you kind of carve out with your kids, and myself with Mike, and we try to have some of those times, but even still, you can be on vacation. People will still text you because they don't know, and there's no way to even set an autoresponder. And a lot of times it's just easier to do it then, have the conversation, solve the problem or whatnot.
And so you can relax.
Yeah.
Without it hanging over your head.
Well, and even more so, it's, if somebody's buying or selling a house and they're stressed out, we don't want to be like, hey, we're on vacation. I want to help you.
We want to,
I want to help you. And so
while you're freaking out about that paperwork, paperwork that forgot to get signed or whatever.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think that's a lot of it too, which is kind of just how we see the job of, we don't want to just wait until we get back. We just want to solve it right then and there, so then you feel better, and, you know, you and Mike aren't stressed out about, you know, whatever's going on with the sale of your house.
Right. Is it going to go through? Because so much of that anxiety, I feel like, is, will I be approved? Am I going to be worthy?
Right.
Yeah.
Am I going to get permission
Yeah.
for my dream?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's
That's a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering about mentors and role models in each one of your lives. Have you had, you know, who have your role models been and or your mentors?
I mean, I feel lucky. I've had a lot of great mentors, starting with my father, Bob. I mean, I really learned from the best with him.
I think that's lovely.
Yeah, no, I'm really lucky. And then through the years, like I said, I started, you know, when I was 16, so I learned from so many awesome professionals that really knew, you know, how to do this job, how to treat people, how to put their clients first. So very, you know, lucky that I've had a lot of great mentors. But like I said, starting with my dad.
Is there a famous figure that you perhaps, you know, from a distance influenced how you perceive and maybe see the world?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I
don't know.
I have to say, and this is probably going to make people cringe or their eyelashes like singe up, but I grew up with Oprah.
Yeah.
Right? And so she's been a big, you know, I think about her a lot of times, like what would, you know.
Yeah.
She's been a big
You
influence.
get a car. You get a car. You get
Yeah, well, you get a house. You get a house. You get a house.
exactly. No, but that's kind of cool, and I think it's probably more of, I mean, there probably is, like, probably later today we'll be like, you know, darn, I kind of like, you know.
Right? So this year's theme for the Women's Conference is change, right? How change, life is change. Yes. The real estate world is change, I'm guessing. But the speed at which it is changing is accelerating, right? And it's not going to, and it's that exponential speed of change is just going to keep on happening. Right? And I have discovered or had this realization that not only is the world changing, or the things that we do, or the things that have worked changing, it's the rules around each one of those things change. So we're kind of looking at that as a general theme. But I'm wondering, you know, how do you manage any of that sort of change? You know, changing style of leadership. Has your style of leadership changed over time, or is it basically the same? Or do you not? I'm going off topic here a little bit, but
yeah, I mean, I would say, the kind of alluding to what you said before in terms of everything changes, and I think, absolutely. I mean, in the time that I've been a realtor, so much has changed, and you just have to find the best way to adapt and try to get ahead.
So how do you adapt? Like, so let's again maybe back up a little bit. How have you adapted to the change in tech?
We try to keep ourselves educated.
Has it hindered you, or has it helped you?
Both.
Or has it made you insane?
Yeah.
All three.
See, all of the above. Yeah. So I think probably the biggest changes. So back in the day, and you would remember because you've been in it longer. MLS, which stands for Multiple Listing Services, used to send like books.
That was my job.
To eat. Oh, was it?
Pick up books to bring back to the office so agents could go through and look to see what was currently for sale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right. So fast forward. That sounds crazy nowadays, by the way. But fast forward, and now
why were we doing it that way?
Right, and everything is online. So we have our database MLS that all realtors use. But from that, all the listings and all the all price reductions or whatnot get sent out through a third-party system. So that goes to your Zillow and Trulia and Redfin and Endless, on and on and on and on. So to me, that's been the biggest change because hypothetically, we're driving around in a car all day doing showings with the client, and you can have another client calling you saying, this house just came up. And you're like, really? I didn't even see it. Because everything is so fast now. And now everybody has access to everything.
How about managing your team and even folks through conflict, right? Because not everything is always smooth, right? And there's personalities and there's...
I mean, I would say, like, as far as within our office, I don't know if unique's the right word, but, we have always had, like, sort of a team approach. So there hasn't been a lot of conflict. We really try to support one another.
I think sometimes, though, the very nature of things constantly changing. So, like tech, for instance, that's frustrating. Can I even just, horrified to say that I just learned yesterday or the day before yesterday how to get an Acrobat e-signature.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, no.
I feel like I've just entered into,
nice.
some huge...
Isn't it wonderful?
Yes.
Yeah, so much easier.
But it is crazy, like the social media.
I'm like, where did it go? It's gone.
But the social media stuff, I mean, that's all changing. And, again, I have two teenagers, and they're, the stuff that they're doing now makes the stuff that I'm on, like, Facebook or Instagram, they're way beyond that. So it is something that, is constantly evolving and changing, and we're trying to stay up on, but it's hard because if you don't grow up with it, it's just something that you have to, it's unnatural to try to learn, so it's definitely a challenge.
It is. And I mean, circling back to like what you were saying about like conflict or anything, we are odd. I mean, we legitimately all really like and get along with one another. So where you get frustrating points, like, whatever sort of technology, we usually are just like, okay, who can figure this out?
Yeah.
Who can show me this? And where it's not everybody, we work as individuals. Like, you have your own clients, I have my own clients. However, we definitely just do whatever we can to help each other out.
It's not cutthroat.
No, my gosh, no.
Just trying to support.
But then you have an extended opportunity to work with folks who are buyers and sellers who are already nervous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Don't understand the process.
Right.
And everything changes, even just going through the process. Never mind the time that we're in, but the span of when you're working as an individual in that process, and how do you manage that? That's a whole like emotional intelligence sort of thing.
It really depends on the person.
Yeah, totally. And seeing what they need and the support that they need, and how best we can help them, because it changes depending on the circumstance and the people and what their abilities and the help that they have, sort of behind the scenes. So it's, an evolving situation.
Right.
Depending.
I know that community engagement is important to both of you individually, as well as through the team office of Canon Real Estate. Can you share with us how you've been involved with that?
Yeah. A lot of it has been sponsorships. We seem to sponsor the majority of things in terms of a lot of different sports teams between Easthampton and Southampton. Let's see, Little League, basketball, soccer, golf tournaments. Every golf tournament, I think. School plays, fundraisers, uniforms for Easthampton. I can't remember what team it was, but uniforms we bought for somebody. And it's endless.
How about time? I know beyond sponsorship. So I'd like to share that, Jill has served for many, many years on the Chamber Board of Directors, and she's a huge asset, and she gets in there and she makes it happen. And I'm sure that's not the only organization that you're necessarily involved. Are you involved with any, Kylene?
I volunteer with my kids and, the sporting events that they're in. Try to do behind the scenes stuff as much as I possibly can, but, that's the majority.
I have no idea how you find the time for what you do. I mean, it seems like she's always like, what is this, spaghetti fundraisers or booster club things.
But you know what? Those are the every little bit of those things adds up to the big overall success for those programs or those organizations, So it's not, I'm sure those folks don't take any of that for granted, because without you, they can't continue to provide those fun activities for children of the community, and or the hard work that the chamber tries to have an impact on the community. So we thank both of you for all of that.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, getting back to the women in leadership thing, and we had a brief conversation before we started taping about how has your perspective shifted from the start of your career until now, right? So we briefly were saying, as I'm getting older, my attention to running my own race as opposed to focusing on other people's races, and why am I not doing that, or why am I not good enough or as good, or any of that stuff. So I'm wondering, how's that changed, progressed for each of you? Because you're both at different stages in your life.
Right.
I mean, for me, it's been interesting because, again, I started working at Canon Real Estate when I was like a 16-year-old kid. And,
right. But you're a young mom.
Yeah. So, starting as, essentially a kid, as an after-school job, now, I'm one of the agents that have been at Canon Real Estate for the longest time. So I've, grown into
seniority at such a young age.
The longest. Yeah.
So it's weird to have had that, see that trajectory, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of starting knowing nothing.
Imagine when you get to my age. Oh boy.
But yeah, just sort of, kind of gaining confidence, learning things, feeling that you know how to deal with certain problems because you've dealt with it in the past, I think builds your confidence. It makes you feel like, okay, I can sort of help the people that are starting under me, and offer advice and ways to kind of deal with different challenges that are coming up, or talking to buyers and sellers who are brand new at this process because they've never done it before.
Right.
Because I've been in the situation, now that I've experience under my belt. It's sort of interesting.
Well, and one confidence wins just begets yet another confidence, right? It pushes you on to go forward.
Yeah.
How about you, Jill?
I would say a lot of the same, because particularly in this business, I mean, it's a lot of it, I don't want to say trial by error, but there's a lot of it to where, even still after 20 years, we'll have new sorts of challenges or new things come up that you've never, most recently, there was an agent in our office, and she called and she was like, so they just did a survey on the house that my clients are buying, and the house is on the neighbor's property. What do I do? And I was like, the house, so not the fence or the shed, but the actual house. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, that's a new one.
Right.
So
God.
things continually come up, and like you said, I mean, you put it great
horrifying.
with, it is. But as you learn to deal with these, and as you have a situation and it gets resolved, and then you kind of learn from there. So down the road, the next house that is on the wrong property will know the outcome of this and kind of know better be able to advise. Better be able to advise down the road, but just kind of an example as far as I think it makes our clients a little more reassured, because it's like, we've done this. We're like I always say we're like what is it? The farmer's insurance commercial. We've done that. We've been there.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that story from that house in Hawaii that got built on the wrong property, like the whole house.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yes, it's a thing. And now they're in the process of, you need to take it down.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
Me either.
No. Not a good time.
Either.
Would not like to be the realtor.
So what kind of tools do you resort to? What's your happy place, to get you to, for instance, again, not getting myself getting caught up in other people, comparing myself to others, right? Like just running my own race and, how do you mitigate that? Do you get caught up in that, or that's never been a problem for you?
No, I mean, I think to a certain extent a little bit, and I think a lot of it has to do with social media, because for me, that wasn't something that I grew up with.
Right.
So it was more of a learned kind of later in life, because how long has Facebook been around? What, like 20 years or something?
I don't think it's been that long.
No.
I think it's been
Hasn't
less.
that been that long?
Yeah,
15 years?
15 years.
Okay,
something like
so
that.
even then, like in 40s, so that's different than like your kids being with, they probably don't even go on Facebook. It's probably something else now. So, I mean, that's been different. And you see like younger people and everything like really taking advantage of it. And that is uncomfortable for me. And I try to do it to a certain extent so people know I exist. However, it doesn't come natural to me.
Yeah.
So that's been a big challenge for me personally.
Technology.
Yeah.
Or just the throwing yourself out there to be like, hello, I'm just, I don't know. We're more of, I guess you could say, workhorses than anything. We just do our thing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I would like to know what advice each of you would like to give young women who are aspiring into leadership roles in real estate or other male-dominated. What advice would you have for the world? In general, young women.
I would say just do it and don't feel overshadowed. I mean, I've had different sales experiences in the past and worked for different, corporations to where it has been more of a male-dominated field. But I don't know. I think I've just done my own thing. I've never felt, any less than anyone else. I just, it's kind of the thing. You work hard, you do your best, and hopefully that comes through. And if it doesn't, it's not the right situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true. Like if you put the work in, people respect that, whether, so you're a woman or man or not. Like I think my advice to young people would be just work as hard as you can, dig in and don't get discouraged if you have setbacks, because those happen, know, but you just got to keep trying and stay the course, and eventually, it sort of works its way out. So.
Were both of you involved with athletics? I know you were involved with athletics. Were you involved with athletics as well? Do you think that has anything to do with how, your confidence or just, again, I hate to keep using this analogy, but keeping not comparing yourself to others or not? Do you understand?
For me,
Am I making sense?
I think it did. How
yeah,
about you?
Yeah, for me. I mean, I was not, you were like a superstar athlete.
Well, no,
I was
not
on
really.
the other end of the spectrum. I was more of a bench warmer, but.
But being involved with the team, I was not involved with team sports when I was a young person. And the first experience I had, I was always either when I was younger, aerobics and that sort of thing. Just started to run in my adult life. And the first experience I had with an athletic competition was a sprint triathlon. And I didn't know even how to swim.
Wow.
But when I came over that finish line, my husband said, well, what are you going to do if you come in last? And that's a whole other story, and we'll get into that one of these days. However, I did not come in last. I was second to last, but
Not last.
right. And I came over that finish line, and I never felt so like it was hard,
Yeah.
but I can do anything.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I wish I had athletics earlier in my life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to help me with that.
It definitely, I feel, does set you up for a lot. I mean, it teaches you how to be responsible, because depending upon the sport that you're playing, there's different roles and depending upon the sport. And also the ability to, like you said, if you make mistakes, it's just a way to learn from, and you keep pushing forward. And then the biggest is the ability to work as a team. And to where, a lot of workplaces, not particularly ours, but a lot of them in general, to where people might not all get along, but you still got to be able to work together.
Right.
I mean, we just happen to be blessed with a great situation, but.
Right.
Yeah, no, sports, I mean, I know for my dad, I mean, that's been like the foundation for him for starting, the business, and he, credits that to a lot of his success. But yeah, besides everything Jill mentioned, time management, discipline.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Staying in your lane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Can't be running all over the field.
Yeah.
Right.
In other people's territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had that when I was younger. How exciting it must be for you and your dad, with this incredible team that you have. He must be so proud of you. I can see you're so proud of him. I can see how proud you are of him. And that's a lovely, lovely thing to have. Yeah, you're blessed.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah. So as we're wrapping up, I'm wondering, where can everyone find you?
199 Northampton Street, right next to the post office.
Hard to miss.
Yeah.
Yep.
And social media, where can they find you?
Well, our website is canonre.com. And social media, we're on Facebook, Instagram.
LinkedIn.
Nice.
Yep.
Not on TikTok yet.
All right.
Yeah, I know. But after this, we might.
Maybe, I know.
All right.
It's like our intro.
So as we're wrapping up, I want to once again thank eMedia. They are so gracious, professional, and it's a blessing to be able to work with them. If you would like to know more about eMedia, you can find them at easthamptonmedia.org. If you'd like to know more about the Chamber, you can find us at easthamptonchamber.org. And you can also look us up at workhubonunion.org. Facebook, hit that like button, and we'll see you soon. And Kylene, and Jill, thank you for being here. I apologize for butchering your name again. And that's it. That's what we got.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mom.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yay.